Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Welcome back to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl Taria. I miss y'all. I miss y'all. I realized I hadn't uploaded. Well, I uploaded a podcast last Friday and then one today, but I haven't done a video in some days. I miss talking to y'all, us kikiing, going back and forth respectfully in the comments. So I am back. It's been a busy ish. My mic's still on. A couple of days. Last Saturday, me and the hubby hosted six other couples at the house. So there was like 14 of us here, y'all. When I tell y'all we had a good time, um, they didn't leave until like 12:30. My one girlfriend and her husband left at 11:30, and then the rest of the couples left at like a little after 12:30. When I tell y'all we had a ball. So I think I told y'all, so back in September, the end of August, beginning of September, the leaders of the marriage ministry that me and Corey used to be a part of when we went to Empowerment Temple, husband unfortunately passed away. Corey and I ended up being able to speak at the funeral, and at the repast, a group of us couples sat together and just reminiscing about how nice it was to look forward to knowing every third Saturday of the month. Mainly, we were getting together, doing outings outside of that, and how we just kind of missed that. So we planned, I think it was the end of August, back at the end of August, to get together last Saturday at our house. We would host the first one, and we're just going to keep it going every month. So it just felt so good, y'all. When I tell you, I'm telling you, we had a ball. We laughed, talked, ate good. Like it was really nice. So then just, the everyday stuff, working, you know, trying to do the daggone thing, trying to content create, figuring out other ways. So, but here we are. We are back. I miss y'all. I love y'all. Y'all, it is October 17th. It was just Friday, and now it's about to be Friday tomorrow. A lot is going on. How y'all feeling with the housewives we getting, y'all? We got Orange County, Salt Lake City, Potomac, and New York. I know people are not liking New York. I'm enjoying it because it's just different, right? I'm enjoying it. Potomac hasn't been bad the first two episodes. There has been a lightness. I still miss my Princess of Potomac, Candace, but I will say I'm still enjoying Potomac. I'll say that. Salt Lake City is my girl. I'm loving Salt Lake City. We 5 episodes in, but I feel like we're further in, which look out for tomorrow's podcast episode. I did it just recorded with someone to recap the latest episode of Salt Lake. And what's the other one? Orange County. I'm enjoying that. That's coming on tonight. So speaking of housewives, I wanted to come to y'all with a little video getting into some. Let's get on into it. First up, the Grand Dame, honey, Miss Karen Huger. This is according to In Touch. In Touch exclusive, RHOP's Karen Huger accuses police of illegal search in DUI case as she fights to suppress evidence. Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger accused police officers of an illegal search following her car crash that led to her being charged with a DUI. In Touch can exclusively report. According to court documents obtained by In Touch, Karen, 61, asked that prosecutors not be allowed to introduce certain evidence at her upcoming trial. Karen, girl. So back in March, Karen was involved in a car accident while driving her 2017 Maserati in Potomac, Maryland. Remember, y'all, when she was like, I am debt free and loaded, and had pulled up in her Maserati, honey. The reality star was accused of crossing a median and hitting multiple street signs. The RHOP star was driving alone and no other cars, thankfully, I put in thankfully, were involved. TMZ had reported that police said Karen was driving in an aggressive manner and too fast for the conditions. The outlet said Karen's airbag deployed from the crash. Karen was arrested over the incident and received several citations. Prosecutors charged Karen with driving under the influence, negligently driving a vehicle in a careless and imprudent manner, endangering property, life, and person, and various other counts. The 2-day jury trial is scheduled for December. In her motion, Karen said she was assisted out of the car after the crash by a neighborhood security guard, as well as Officer Kyle Baxter and Sergeant Brett Trahan. She said that the three took her to the ambulance to do a wellness check. Karen said she sat in the ambulance for a few minutes, but refused further medical treatment because she didn't want them to know she was drunk, allegedly. She said her husband arrived at the scene and she exited the ambulance and walked to the curb with him. The reality star's lawyer said after Karen exited the ambulance, Sergeant Trahan grabbed Karen by the arm and told her and her husband that she is not free to leave. The reality star said she asked the sergeant why he was grilling her. She said he told her because you were in an accident and appeared to be impaired. Karen claimed the sergeant then told her you are not free to leave. In her filing, Karen's lawyer said Karen answered the sergeant's questions in violation of her Fourth Amendment right and provided answers that could possibly incriminate her in a trial. As Sergeant Trahan has Karen in custody and is subjecting her to an illegal interrogation, Officer Kyle Baxter arrived to assist Sergeant Trahan in the interrogation of Karen. The motion read, Karen's lawyer said the officer in front of Karen, asked his superior, are we getting anywhere? The sergeant allegedly told the officer she understands she is not free to leave. Karen said the officer then questioned her about how much she drank. The evidence seized in this case was obtained as a result of an illegal search and seizure. Karen's lawyer argued the statements taken from the defendant were involuntary and elicited during an illegal custodial interrogation without the observance of mandatory procedural safeguards required by law, specifically the Fourth Amendment. Karen claimed the officers were aggressive and she was not read her Miranda warnings. Therefore, she argued the interrogation was illegal and all statements and police video after her illegal interrogation should be suppressed. The reality star asked the entire case be dismissed. In the alternative, she requested that the evidence of her illegal interrogation and all subsequent police body cam video be suppressed as fruit of the poisonous tree. Their lawyer wrote, officers additionally observed the driver of the vehicle, the defendant, unsteady on her feet, swaying, stumbling, and slurring her speech. Furthermore, the initial caller spoke to officers on the scene and indicated that prior to police arrival, the defendant appeared confused and the caller smelled alcohol when interacting with the defendant. Further, Karen's statements were not obtained as a result of a custodial interrogation because some of her statements were made while emergency medical services personnel were treating the defendant for potential injuries. Karen's statements made during this time were free and voluntary and were stated out loud while in the presence of police officers. Additionally, statements made after the defendant was examined by EMS personnel were not obtained as a result of a custodial interrogation because Karen's subsequent statements were made while the defendant was temporarily detained pursuant to a traffic stop. The judge has yet to rule. Wow. Y'all, this is a lot. So they're saying basically that because they weren't asked in a custodial manner, I guess following the proper Fourth Amendment rights, that all of it should be thrown out. I want to pull up something, y'all, and read something to y'all. Hold on a second. I want to see something. So it looks like Karen was given a lot of citations that night, right? Some are closed. So she had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if they're all the same or not, right? They say closed. However, she has criminal JTP motor vehicle charges that are open. And that's the case that we're talking about. That case was opened in June. So what she's being charged with, all of her charges. Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second, because that's not, wait a minute. Uh-oh. Let's see. It was opening before. Is it opening as a pop-up? Okay, here we go. So it is, the court system is Montgomery County Court, and it's criminal, which is why I believe she's not talking about it. So it looks like it's set for, a jury trial is set for December 16th and December 17th. The charge and disposition: driving vehicle while impaired by alcohol, driving vehicle while under the influence, driving vehicle in excess of reasonable and prudent speed on highway, failure to control speed on highway to avoid collision, failure of license to notify administration of her address change within 30 days, driving vehicle on a suspended registration, negligent driving vehicle in careless and imprudent manner, endangering property, life, and person, reckless driving vehicle in wanton and willful disregard for safety of persons and property. So again, those will be in December. And she wants the case thrown out because of, they say, illegal search and seizure. Illegal search and seizure. And they keep mentioning that when she was questioned, she was being checked out by the EMS, emergency medical services, and not, I'm trying to get the exact term they used, and not as a result of a custodial interrogation. So the police didn't have Karen in custody and was interrogating her. She was getting checked out by the emergency medical services. And I think they're trying to say that basically, because it looks like, oh, you know what? I missed something when I read that to y'all. So in the alternative, she requested that the evidence of her illegal interrogation and all subsequent police body cam be suppressed as a result of the poisonous fruit. So then the prosecutors were the ones that opposed her request to suppress the evidence. They argued the statements and evidence collected were properly obtained. And then that's when I went into reading to y'all. Officers additionally observed the driver of the vehicle unsteady on her feet, and that she made statements voluntarily in the presence of officers. So that wasn't illegal. So that's the argument. What do y'all think? Y'all think it's going to get thrown out? Y'all think Karen has a case to get it thrown out because she's saying it was illegal search and seizure and the statements were obtained when she wasn't in custody, but the prosecutors are saying you gave statements of your own free will in front of police officers? Karen is not going down without a fight. I'll tell you that much. She is definitely not going on without a fight. Now, watching the show, and I said this in my Potomac recap, which I posted this morning, that I felt like Karen is positioning herself as the victim. It's always what was done to me, what I'm in the process of, what's going on with me. And it's because of her own actions. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be given first, second, third, fourth, fifth chances because this is her second DUI. But it just seems like she's not taking ownership. And maybe in her mind, or accountability, she's not doing it because she doesn't want to implicate herself with this open case. She doesn't want anything being able to be used against her when she goes to trial, right? So maybe. But the attitude just seems like an attitude of I'm the victim. That's what I'm getting in my opinion. That's how it's coming across. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think maybe the reason Karen isn't necessarily coming across, if that's how you feel, as being accountable, is because maybe she's afraid that it can be used against her in court? So she's basically trying not to say nothing at all. She doesn't want to implicate herself at all. I don't know. We'll see. We will continue with updates as this story progresses and see if it gets thrown out. Speaking of Potomac, Miss Mia Thornton came down to the internet and said, question for the people. Should a wife who worked during her entire marriage be responsible for paying her soon-to-be ex-husband alimony because he's 30 plus years older than her and says he can't find a job? I wonder about Mia sometimes. Like, I know they're done filming, but is all of this in her mind for a story, for next like, why would you come down here to the internet and ask that? Now, you worked during your marriage, your entire marriage. Was that for G and his company? I know that you were selling steaks at the steakhouse. I'm so, in ball gowns. That's how you met G. We know that. Um, but weren't you working for him? Didn't he put you in a position like buy you franchises or buy you a friend? Or no, she said I'm sorry. In one interview before, she said she had her own franchise before, like a Massage Envy or something like that. Either way, was the 30 year, I mean, was the years that you were married that you were working, was that for G's company? I don't know. I don't know. It's watching this all play out is wild on the show and in real time. Um, is this even a thing? Has it even been brought up, or just Mia just throwing this out there? Y'all know how Mia is. Mia, hashtag Mia be lying. What y'all think? Do y'all think she should have to pay him alimony? You know, some people say they feel for G. Some people say G, the player, got played because he was married when he got with Mia. And Mia has talked about how they were on the beach together and having sex and blah, blah, blah while he was married. So she's talked about that. And then some people say they feel sorry for the way Mia is doing him now. I don't know. What do y'all think? I just feel like in all aspects, child, what goes around may just be coming around for the both of them. And the words of Miss E, how about that? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Next up, let's talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And one of my people's, well, not one of my people's. I personally, I don't want to read too much into it because I know I don't personally, I won't say like, but don't resonate with this housewife, Jen Aydin. But let's get into the things of the things. So during an Instagram live, Jen Aydin claimed that I am coming back because there was a rumor that Dolores, Teresa, and Jen Aydin were coming back to Jersey next season because we know there's been talk about, Jersey is on pause. There's been talking about a cast shakeup. People wondering who's coming, who's going. Is it Margaret, Melissa, Jen Fessler, that camp? And then you got Teresa, Jen Aydin, Jackie, who was a friend of that camp, Dolores in the middle. So people are wondering who's coming, who's going. So during an Instagram live, Jen Aydin said, I'm coming back. Well, Andy has denied that. He said on his Sirius XM Andy Cohen Live, he said, let me make sure I get all of it. Give me one second. He said, it's not happening. We've made no decisions about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. He confirmed on the October 15th episode of, again, Andy Cohen Live. When Andy's co-host, John Hill, suspected that fans jumped to conclusions after seeing the three women in a photo together, Andy expressed confusion. He said, they appeared in a photo together? Well, I mean, I was in a photo with freaking Madonna. Andy became further frustrated when John informed him that Jennifer had confirmed her return to the show with fans. What? No. Jennifer Aydin confirmed that she's returning? No, no, no. We've done nothing. We've done absolutely. I mean, well, no. Actually, we've done plenty. But that's not what's no. I'm gonna read that to y'all again. I guess he was thinking through what to say in his mind and it was coming out. When his co-host John Hill said Jen Aydin confirmed her return, he said, what? No. Jennifer Aydin confirmed that she's returning? No, no, no. We've done nothing. We've done absolutely. I mean, well, no. Actually, we've done plenty, but that's not That's not what's no, he insisted. She said on her Instagram live, wow, all right, okay, no. In addition to shutting down the casting rumors, Andy said that when it came to Jennifer, I wish her well, but wait until Bravo or I say something. How about that? Child Andy said, in the words of Mariah, I wish you well. Now, we don't know if he meant that as in I wish you well with the rest of your life outside of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. All we know is that he said they've done absolutely nothing. Then he said, well, they have done something, but not what Jen is saying and what the streets are saying about Dolores, Jen, and Teresa coming back. And he said he wished Jen Aydin well. What y'all think? Do y'all want Jen to come back? What would y'all like to see happen with Jersey? Some people like last season. I didn't mind it. I like that Melissa and Teresa weren't pretending to get along, but we do know you obviously can't have two shows within one show. Something's got to give. So what y'all think? Who y'all want to come back and who do y'all want to go? Or do y'all just not even care about Jersey? Let me know. Speaking of the OC, let's get into it, y'all. Hold on. Let me share my little screen with y'all. That ain't it, child. That ain't it. Share. What are you doing? There we go. Oh, child, I thought I had ended the meeting. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Let's get into it.
Did my first therapy session.
What?
Let's just say I found out something pretty big about myself that I didn't know.
Now I need to know, like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I am on the spectrum.
Oh my gosh, Tam.
Don't make me cry. My biggest problem is working through trauma
Yeah.
that I had in my life. I have a hard time with empathy and
Yeah.
feeling other people's feelings.
Well, I always think, why am I not the strong one? So, you know?
Well, I just did my first therapy session.
What?
Let's just say I found out something pretty
I'm just letting it play
big
again, y'all.
about myself that I didn't know.
Now I need to know, like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I am on the spectrum.
Oh my gosh, Tam.
Now, here's a comment from someone that says, as a therapist, we cannot diagnose on the spectrum, which, to be clear, is also not a diagnosis. Lack of empathy is also not a symptom of on the spectrum or autism, but it is for narcissistic personality disorder. So we see that, right? And then let's get into some other stuff. So we saw that come out. That was posted on Two Teas in a Pod 2 days ago. So what's that? The 15th? Tamra received some backlash. Let's get into what she had to say about that. This is according to Reality T. Tamra Judge releases mental health statement after saying she's on the spectrum. Tamra Judge faced a great deal of backlash after telling her podcast listeners she was on the spectrum. She talked about how she did her first therapy session. Let's just say I found out something pretty big about myself that I didn't know. She says she's on the spectrum. So let's get into what her tweet said after she talked about it. She said, I started therapy because this year has been really hard on me. I started feeling really insecure. I was having intrusive thoughts and I didn't want to leave my house unless I had to. I even considered just being admitted into a mental health facility. In my conversations with my therapist, who I've known for years, we talked about a lot over the course of 2 hours. And she told me that many of the things about me, like how I process information, my sensory issues, my social anxiety, my aversion to eye contact with new people, my not wanting to be out of my routine, etc., were all signs of being on the spectrum. Now, on the spectrum is such a broad term. I don't really understand it fully, and my therapist told me more evaluation was needed. But when I sat down at the mic to record my podcast 15 minutes later, and my head was spinning from what she had said. I had no time to process things or even talk to my family. I was just back at work, and I was so emotional, I just blurted it out. I'm going to pause something before we go on. She says, Her therapist told her there was more evaluation needed. Her therapist told her named her social anxieties, aversion, eye contact. Y'all heard all that. Said were all signs of being on a spectrum. Not that she was, but were signs, but more evaluation was needed. So then she sat down on her podcast 15 minutes later and said she just had her first therapy session and found out she was on the spectrum. So she didn't give full. I talked to my therapist. My therapist named some things that said there were signs of me being on this spectrum. However, more evaluation was needed. That's not what she said. She said she sat down in her first therapy session and found out she was on the spectrum. See how misleading that can be? Let's continue. Afterwards, so she said she was so emotional, she blurted it out. Afterwards, my instinct was to have it removed, but I'm used to being so open with everything in my life. I thought against it. Now I wish I had. I just want to take people through my journey with me as I've always done, but I realize now I spoke too soon publicly, and that processing this was with such an onslaught of negative comments has been horrible. If you know me, you know I don't like to look weak or play the victim. I also hate labels just as much as I hate excuses, but I'm working on myself, not a TV show, to be a better person for me and the people around me. This isn't some storyline, it's my real life. I have past trauma that is deep and painful. This is something I've suppressed for 15 years, but I'm finally getting the help I need, and I'm proud of myself for that. So as much as I appreciate the amazing people who reached out, I think it's best to move forward more privately until I get to a better mental health space. My mental health is just not strong enough where I can be judged and hated on right now. Yes, I'm admitting I'm weak, and I'm okay with that right now. Listen, it takes a lot for somebody to come out, right, and admit these things. But I'm going to say this. When she said she shared it, her instincts were to have it removed. But I'm used to being open with everything in my life. But you weren't open. It was misleading. I get it. She said it was 15 minutes after that conversation. But again, she led with, I just had my first therapy session, and you want to know what I found out? I'm on the spectrum. But that's not, according to her, what happened in that session. Her therapist named some things and said, these are all signs, but more evaluation is needed. She left that part of it out when she made her announcement. She could have very easily came down here and said, I just had my first therapy session, y'all. We went over some things and I'm checking boxes per my therapist that are point to me being on this spectrum, but she did tell me more evaluation will be needed. And I want to be open and share my journey with you guys. That's very different than what she said. Very different. Also, she had posted but deleted. Mind you, she said she had her first therapy session and that she was on the spectrum. That podcast clip posted. Then she posted this in her stories. Even though I check almost all the boxes, it's an ongoing evaluation, and I will continue to figure out more through therapy. Thank you for all your DMs. Not sure I'm ready for this ride. Then that was removed, and then this post was done. Child, you know, Vicky came to the front. Vicky came to the front and said, this is disgusting and shame on her. She's looking for attention and sympathy. It's no different than Brooke saying he had cancer for sympathy and lying to me. She needs psychological help and needs to stop making a mockery of being on the spectrum or having autism. I'm going to say this. If she's indeed going through this and, you know, going through the evaluation for autism, that's truly the case and she's walking this journey, kudos to her for trying to figure this out. I have to be honest and say it does seem like all of this is coming because of the backlash she's getting. So she's getting backlash for terrible behavior. And my terrible behavior is because of these things. That's what it seems like, right? One could say the audience wanted Tamra gone because of her behaviors. Then when she was gone, they said it was boring. So then she came back and knew she had to do something to keep a job, right? One could make that argument. I do think there are certain, I get that with housewives, they have to make a show, right? Conflict resolution, have some interest. But I do think there are some of these housewives on these shows that go too far and do too much and are so overly produced. It's like, and it's with serious issues, right? Maybe that's Tamra. She's like, I don't want to lose this job again. So now I have to, she could very well be going through this process, but I must share it because in the back of her mind, it is also a story line. And it could also explain my behaviors. But it feels like to me, this is coming on the heels of all the backlash that she has been getting. Running her mouth about Ryan being served. That could all fall under, well, she's dealing with this issue, so she couldn't help herself. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's what I could be totally wrong. And quite honestly, I hope I am, because this is nothing to play with at all. At all. But it feels like to me, it's convenient timing. I'll say that. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think that this is something Tamra is truly dealing with and just wants to be open and share with the public? Do you think that it's something that she's dealing with and she's being open to justify her behavior or cut down maybe on some of the backlash she's getting because of her behavior this season? Or do you think she went to a therapist to be able to say she's gone to a therapist, has these behaviors that could be signs of autism? So she's bringing that out without fully knowing to keep a job and have a storyline for the next season upcoming. What do y'all think? There are some people who are supporting her in this ride and saying, do what's best for you, sending you a big hug. So proud of you for being vulnerable and honest, sending my warmest hugs and best wishes. F the haters. We all know you and how strong you are, but you don't always have to be so strong and tough. Thanks for being too raw and vulnerable and making reality TV real. We stand with Tamra. You're extremely brave, Tamra. Thank you for sharing. The Twitter warriors are loud, but just know the majority of people support you in your journey to come. Stay strong. How do they know that? This is a lot. Take some time to process yourself with your family. Your fans will still be here sending you positive vibes. What do y'all think, honestly? Because I know sometimes we'll have a gut reaction and then can take a step back and say, all right, let me look at this through a different lens, even if it's a housewife I don't particularly care for. What is y'all's gut reaction telling y'all? What do y'all think? Y'all let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what y'all think about Andy Cohen wishing Jen Aydin well, honey. Do y'all want Jen Aydin to come back? What y'all think about Jen? Mia wanting to know, child, she got to pay alimony to Gordon. And what do y'all think about Karen trying to get evidence suppressed? Let me know y'all thoughts. I love y'all so much. Happy Thursday, Friday Eve, and I will talk to y'all later. See ya.